This is the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Your hosts are Seth Jacobson and Patrick Heiler.
Chapter 49, What Was Meant to Be. And our symbol is the snake and the wheel. There's 5 days in between.
But from Rand's perspective, not much.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
He's just asleep the whole time.
But yeah, so 5 days go by. Rand is unconscious.
Rand opened his eyes and found himself staring up at sunlight slanting through the branches of a leather leaf, its broad, tough leaves still green despite the time of year. The wind stirring the leaves carried a hint of snow, come nightfall. He lay on his back, and he could feel blankets covering him under his hands. His coat and shirt seemed to be gone, but something was binding his chest, and his left side hurt. He turned his head, and Min was sitting there on the ground, watching him. He almost did not know her, wearing skirts. She smiled uncertainly. "Min, it's you. Where did you come from? Where are we?" His memory came in flashes and patches, old things he could remember, but the last few days seemed like bits of broken mirror. Foreshadowing? Sorry.
Yeah.
Spinning through his mind, showing glimpses that were gone before he could see them clearly. "From Falma," she said. "We're 5 days east of there now, and you've been asleep all that time."
I think that's more just a literary device of
just
seeing shards of a mirror, and that's a fairly common...
popped into my head as soon as I heard that.
Oh, totally. With the bubble of evil in the stone.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I love that scene.
That's a great scene. When the cards come out at Matt.
Yeah.
And all three boys deal with their own aspects of the bubble of evil at once.
Wait, what's parents?
Isn't that where the axe comes alive and he has to put it in the door?
Oh, yeah, he has to fight the axe.
Totally.
In a literal way,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to figurative.
Right. Well, it is a little on the nose there.
Yeah.
Where Rand has to fight himself, Matt has to fight the cards and the gambling and the dice.
Kings and
queens. And Perrin has to fight the axe internally. It's like the bubble of evil is like holding up a mirror to their personalities and attacking them with it. The hammer doesn't come to life. All the weapons come to life and attack him. The hammer stays docile.
It's not a weapon.
Nope. It's a tool.
More memory. Matt had blown the horn of Valir. Egwene, did they free her? He held his breath. I don't know what they you mean, but she's free. We freed her ourselves. We? I don't understand. Nynaeve and Elaine and me. Nynaeve? Elaine? How? So Rand's kind of being caught up, because until this point he didn't even know that the Supergirls were in Falma.
He saw Egwene.
Oh, right.
So he's like, did they free her?
Where is she? Rand asked. Gone.
When he says, did they free her, I assume he's referring to Gurren, Matt, and the other folks.
He didn't send him. They ran away.
Oh, he's referring to the heroes. That's right. He sent the heroes of the Horn to rescue the girls, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. He asks them to help her.
She's already free?
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
He tells Hawkwing that he needs to save the girl, too, and that's when Brigida makes fun of him. She pipes up from the back. She's like, "Go loose, Theron." And all the heroes laugh at him.
Right. But apparently Nynaeve had already rescued Egwene before he blows the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's totally unneeded. Too little, too late.
Rand asks after Egwene, where is she? And Min says, gone. They're all gone. But Min has a bit of a reaction that Rand asks after her. And our last moment with the three of them was an awkward moment in a bedroom.
And I think it might be a little bit of shame that she's kind of glad she's gone. She's like, I get you all to myself.
Yeah, I could see that.
Embarrassed about that.
And yeah.
She's thinking one thing, and Rand sees the embarrassment and interprets it as something else entirely.
They're all gone. Egwene and Nynaeve and Matt and Hurin and Varen. They're on the way to Tarvalin. Egwene and Nynaeve back to their training in the tower, and Matt for whatever the Aes Sedai have to do about that dagger. They took the Horn of Valir with them. I can't believe I actually saw it. She didn't even wait until I woke up. The red in Min's cheeks deepened, and she sat back, staring at her lap.
I was thinking about Varen and her taking the horn back to the White Tower.
Yeah.
Do you think she reports it?
Doesn't it end up in a storeroom?
Yeah. I think the Shadow knows where the horn is the whole time. That's why they steal it in the last battle. They know where it is. They're just waiting for it to come out, and they steal it. I don't think Varen could hide the fact she knew where the horn was.
Yeah, I don't think so. You're right. I don't think there's any way she could hide it.
And I think the Dark would leave it there because that's just what they do. They're like, yeah, we know where it is. We don't have to go looking for it. It's totally safe. We have the White Tower. It was split. Like they assumed that they would dominate the White Tower. As far as they were concerned, it was totally safe.
Those in the know probably that the Dark can't use the horn.
They just want to steal it away from the light.
So that it can't be used.
Yeah. And yeah, if you know where it is, there's no point in exposing yourself. Leave it where it is and then nab it when it's important.
Yeah. A little after that, here's where Min says that Moraine says Nynaeve must have done something or you wouldn't have lived till we carried you to Varen. But Nynaeve says she was too frightened to light a candle. There is something wrong with your wound.
And so that's where we think that Lanfear is the one who actually did the healing when she did the Dragon's Fang.
Yeah.
And Rand stirred. She actually did something to keep him alive. Nynaeve was too frightened. She clearly couldn't have done anything. And I can't think of anybody else. I can't tell if Varen's good at healing or not. I think she's like okay at it, but not fantastic.
She's not particularly powerful. She's not weak.
No. And she likes to always pawn it off on Alana later whenever someone comes to her for healing. It's bad. She's like, well, let's get Alana. I think Varen's pretty powerful for a White Tower Aes Sedai. She's sort of in the top quarter, but that's not very powerful overall. She's like weaker than pretty much all our main characters. She's weaker than Moraine. She's weaker than Suan. Yeah, more than most. Like the top cohort.
Moraine's pretty powerful.
Oh yeah, Moraine's like the most powerful. Moraine, Elida, and Suan are sort of the top three in the White Tower.
It says Cadsuane and Ramonda are the only known Aes Sedai like early in the series that are more powerful. And it looks like from the power levels, and I still have never really learned to understand the system very well, but it looks like Varen is like a step below Moraine. So not weak.
No, definitely not.
She's a little bit weaker than one of the most powerful channelers known at this point. Other than, Nynaeve is known, but
right.
The most powerful Aes Sedai. Let's say that. Because it says Cadsuane is 17.5. What does the 5 mean? And Moraine's 13.1? Something like that? Do you understand?
I don't really understand.
I don't understand either.
I've at various points figured it out and then immediately forgotten.
I always just look at the comparisons between people.
Yeah, there are two different scales.
Right.
It's like, yeah. There's like one before the Forsaken and one after. He had to like increase the rank. And because there's those two different ways to rank them, it gets all messed up.
Because there end up being so many channelers above like the 1 level or whatever it is.
Yeah. And also it's a count down rather than a count up, which always confuses me. I always think of a bigger number as being more powerful, but it's the other way around.
Yeah, me too.
It's not intuitive to me at all.
Yeah, me neither.
So, and I assume the reason we talked about this, that the healing is not working the way it should, is because of the fact that Ishmael created a true power well in Rand's side. It's just seething with true power, and the 1 power healing can't deal with it.
Yeah, I don't know if I would call it a well. It can't be drawn on, but
sure. like a
wound
cyst is almost what I think, a true power cyst. You know, the healing is able to sort of isolate it and keep it in place, but it's still eating away at him in the side. It's still a wound.
Kelsey's going to be really happy you just said that. Oh, wait, that was pus.
Oh, yes. The cysts are full of pus. So basically, I'm comparing true power to pus here. It's like if the wound in his side had become isolated and sealed off, and instead of healing with flesh, it had formed this cottage cheese-like substance that slowly rotted inside, approximating the smell of dead flesh. And then when you cut into it, it squirted out in this just fountain of mountainous, rolling, cottage cheese-looking...
And we just lost all our listeners.
Right, my point is, the true power, nasty stuff.
Gross.
Yeah.
Why are so many people grossed out by the word moist?
It's a joke from How I Met Your Mother.
Is that really where it started?
I thought so, unless people were like freaked out about it beforehand.
I thought that was a thing.
Was it a thing before? I know people find the word gross, And it may be that, like, that's just a thing that people find gross, and How I Met Your Mother played off of it. I don't really know the evolution of the internet meme.
Well, moving on from gross words.
Moist meme. Let's see what that turns up. Not what I wanted. And moving on. Ooh.
That's what you get for Googling.
Yep. Gotta turn safe search on.
And Rand finds out Moraine is here. She appears.
She does a Gandalf.
As if summoned.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I'm here. Maybe I'd almost call it a Dumbledore. He pulls Dumbledore, where he, like, shows up after all the action's done, and the apprentice is, like, gotten his ass kicked. And
except Rand is a total jerk. He doesn't want her there. He accuses her of hiding. This is where we find out that she was working to save the Aes Sedai before they were removed from Falma.
I do think it's funny she's in the city the whole time, and she never runs into the girls. Min says it was lucky that she ran into them, even.
Yeah.
Because so many people are in the streets, and whenever we say lucky, we mean Ta'Veren. So I'm guessing Rand didn't need Moraine to be there. Yeah, thanks, Varen.
How providential. Sorry to keep bringing that up. Rand says, "You sent Varen to shepherd me, but I'm no sheep, Moraine. You said I could go where I wanted, and I mean to go where you are not." "I did not send Varen," Moraine frowned. "She did that on her own."
Ding, 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 ding. Big lie right there.
"You are of interest to a great many people, Rand."
That's where we find Varen lied. That's where we find out she's dark.
This is where we find out that Varen straight up lied.
That's the clue that we need to find out that either that or Moraine's a dark friend. She has less of an excuse to lie about that. She's just confused.
Yeah. "Did Fane find you, or are you him?" The sudden change of topic took him by surprise. "Fane? No. A fine hero I make. I tried to rescue Egwene, and Min did it before me. Fane said he would hurt Emond's Field if I didn't face him, and I never laid eyes on him. Did he go with the Shan-Shan too?" Moraine shook her head. "I do not know."
I mean, as far as we know, Fane just was caught up in the chaos in the city. I don't have any proof as to what was happening to Fane. I don't think we ever hear him. He just, like, runs away. He's, like, ends up with the White Cloaks after this. And I don't know. He never really references what happened to him, Falma, as far as I can tell.
Moraine says that it's probably better that you don't run into him. And she explains a bit. We expand on what Moraine says here with her theory about Fane. And then he's got the triple dark taint, basically.
Totally. Well, yeah, there's some debate about what happened when he encountered Mashin Shin. Whether it was more the other way around, where he imprinted on Mashin Shin rather than the other way around. But I think my theory was that Mashin Shin stole the part of him that has to seek Rand.
Yeah, triple dark threat.
But yeah, I always go back to that line with Varen because, oh man, did we argue about that online. There were so many arguments about that back in the day. Is Varen purple? What's up with Varen? Why do we think Varen's a dark friend?
Oh, back in the day.
Oh, totally. And that was a debate because people were like, well, one of them.
There was the Moraine as a dark friend thing happening too.
And so there was definitely evidence on both sides. But that line was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Such a big deal for a long time. Really until Varen turns over, until the hour of her death.
Yeah.
That was a debate over whether or not Varen was black. Because she was so helpful, but she lied.
She's free to. Rand believes he kills the Dark One.
Frequently.
Yeah, frequently. Moraine says the Dark One is not slain so easily. The mere fact that he appeared in the sky above Falma is more than merely troubling. He should not be able to do that, if he is bound as we believe, and if he is not, why has he not destroyed us all?
Because he is bound, and that wasn't the Dark One. And Rand didn't kill him, whoever he was.
Your battle took place across the sky, full view of every soul in Falma, perhaps in other towns on Tolman Head, too, if half of what I hear is to be believed. She shows him the poster. This is when pictures of Rand's face start circulating.
Yeah. This is like Patron Nile has a copy, Elida has a copy, like pretty much every major player knows his face.
Yeah.
He is, from now on, seen as at least a false dragon, if not the Dragon Reborn, even though he hasn't technically proclaimed himself yet.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the moment when all the other dragons fall? Or is it when he picks up Kalendor? It's now. So basically, when he appeared in the sky, all the other false dragons stopped.
The pattern stops throwing up false dragons.
Yeah. Taim falls off his horse and is captured at that moment.
Nice. Taim and Saldea. Logain's already captured. Yeah, there's the one in Hadenmerk as well.
And so I think one of them, there's those 4 we've talked about.
Logain, Taim, Hadenmerk, Rand. Is there another one?
They just don't name them, so it's hard to keep track of which one's which.
He's from the south somewhere. I'm not sure. I think it was Murundi.
There's Taim, Hadenmark, and Murundi, and Logain has already been captured.
Oh, so there's a new one.
Yeah. So 2 of them fall. Logain got taken down by the Aes Sedai.
The White Tower, yeah.
Yeah. The one in Murundi got beheaded pretty quickly because they were already ready to fight. And then Taim falls off his horse and Hadenmark guy gets killed during the Falma scene.
Awesome. In a terrible way.
This is Rand proclaiming himself and becoming... There are no more false dragons, just Rand. And that's why Moiraine freaks out later when she thinks that Massima is another false dragon for a second. Someone's like, oh, there's another false dragon. And she's like, what? And it's like, oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
It's just proclaiming the dragon.
Prophet of the dragon. The tale is being told everywhere of how the dragon battled the Dark One in the skies above Falma. Rand looked at Min. She nodded reluctantly and squeezed his hand. She looked frightened, but she did not flinch away. I wonder if that's why Egwene left. The pattern weaves itself around you even more tightly, Moiraine said. You need me now more than ever. I don't need you, he said harshly, and I don't want you. I will not have anything to do with this.
Oh yeah, way to piss off Moiraine. I don't need you. I don't want you. After all she's done for him.
I don't want to be the dragon. Yeah, well, too bad. Kid.
You are what you are.
You are what you are, Moiraine said. Already you stir the world. The Black Aja has revealed itself for the first time in 2,000 years.
Leandrin?
Arad Doman and Tarabon were on the brink of war, and it will come worse when news of Falma reaches them. Cairhien is in civil war. I did nothing in Cairhien, he protested. You can't blame that on me. Doing nothing was always a ploy in the great game, she said with a sigh. Especially as they play it now. You were the spark, and Cairhien exploded like an illuminator's firework.
I like that doing nothing was always a ploy in the Great Game, because that sort of references the fact that she was a part of the Cairhien Great Game.
Oh, yeah.
For a long time. You know, that's her homeland. She's referencing that as something she knows intimately.
And she's royalty.
Yep.
Moiraine says she knows that 3 of the 7 seals are broken now.
She found that the 2 that were intact right before this battle. So, you know, we saw Bael Domon give one to Turok, and he set it next to another one, which were both intact.
And he had another.
So Moiraine found Turok's 2.
And 3 out of 7 because the one at the Eye of the World was also broken.
Yeah, the one I had and the 2 I found in the High Lord's dwelling in Falma. So they don't get dropped or anything. They just fall apart. They just disintegrate. And I wonder if that has something to do with. I bet it happened when Rand got stabbed.
With all that true power.
Yep.
I was kind of thinking that too.
And the dragon is one with the land is one with the dragon. By basically boring a hole in Rand's side, they may be opening up the bore a little bit and breaking a seal.
Interesting.
Oh, one breaks when Rand gets stabbed and one breaks when Ishmael gets stabbed. I like that idea too. Kind of clever. Because it does seem that like the first one breaks when Ishmael gets burned. We think it's broken. It must be broken before then, because otherwise the 2, Agenor and Bethalmal, wouldn't have gotten out.
And they're not broken when Turok has them. So
right.
They broke.
Oh, well, I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we know those next 2 seals break in like the last few days. Probably right during the battle scene.
I literally think they break when Rand gets stabbed. I think in that moment is when they shatter.
I like it.
And so there's 7 seals. 3 of them are broken. We know 3 of them are left intact in the last battle. So there's still one out there that's unbroken that we haven't found yet that will be broken at some point. It's when they become soft, and Moiraine takes a sliver off of it, and then they're traveling with it, and it breaks during the travel. But that's the only other one that we see break in the series until Logain does his duty at the end and breaks all the last 3. Yeah, the one from Tanchico, I think, is the one that breaks.
I liked that here Van gets up to walk, and Moraine and Min have to support him as he goes along, one on either arm, down to where the campfires were already burning. I just liked it. I'm sure it's not meant to be symbolic or anything, but he is supported by these women around him.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the reason for his success.
And this is the physical equivalent.
And he's physically being supported after being injured. Yeah, I just liked it.
The physical reflecting the metaphysical.
Yeah. Lan sat under a tree, sharpening his sword. I thought that was weird. The warder gave Rand a careful look, then a nod.
He's very Buddhist. He's very sitting under a tree with wisdom.
Why is he sharpening his sword?
Isn't it a power rot sword?
It is. Well, it doesn't... It says that... Rand says his sword, not a sword.
Yeah. Lan has told us that it's pretty much pointless, that all you're doing is ruining...
He knows that it makes no difference.
It makes no difference.
Is he just...
Nice catch.
Is he just meditating? Like, just...
I think he's worried about Rand. He's sitting outside of Rand's tent, just... Worrying. And to look like he's busy, he's just worrying his stone against the power rod blade. I never noticed. That's adorable. That's adorable, right? He's totally out there worrying about him and making sure he's okay. I was wondering if this book that Loyal was reading, To Sail Beyond the Sunset, had any significance.
I don't know, but Beyond the Sunset would be in the direction of Shan-Chan, wouldn't it?
It would be. Quick question. In your book, can you read that? It says, Lan sat under a tree.
Lan sat under a tree, sharpening his sword. The warder gave Rand a careful look.
That's not what my copy says.
What does it say?
Mine says, Lan sat under a tree, sharpening his belt knife.
Really?
It does. Someone else noticed that Lan should not be sharpening his sword, and they changed the text. Totally. This is a mistake that was changed in a later version of the novel.
Cool.
That's why I love it that you're reading an early version and I'm reading a modern, updated version.
Yeah, I don't know when this came out, but it was a used paperback, so...
Yeah, no, the digital version totally says belt knife because Lan would not be sharpening his sword. But I like my Lan is worried, and that's why he's sitting out there.
Let's go with that.
Wasting time.
I like that.
I like that.
It's better.
But even if he's out there sharpening his belt knife, he's still out there just like killing time.
Yeah.
Outside of Rand's tent, being worried. But nice catch on that mistake, by the way.
Thanks.
Wait, I caught it. Nice catch on that mistake, by the way.
Oh yeah. Well, Loyal and Perrin are also there. I'm trying to think of anything. If there's anything I want to say about this.
Just Loyal being loyal.
Yeah.
And I mean that in
Loial being Loyal. The Shinarans were gathering around. To Rand's surprise, they all fell to their knees. Every one of them watched him. We would pledge ourselves to you, Uno said. The others kneeling with him nodded. Your oaths are to Ingtar and Lord Agelmar, Rand protested. Ingtar died well, Uno. He died so the rest of us could escape with the horn. There was no need to tell them or anyone else the rest. He hoped that Ingtar had found the light again. Tell Lord Agelmar that when you return to Faldara. It is said, the one-eyed man said carefully, that when the dragon is reborn, he will break all oaths, shatter all ties. Nothing holds us now. We would give our oaths to you. He drew his sword and laid it before him, hilt toward Rand, and the rest of the Shinarans did the same.
Number one, Mackenzie let us know that To Sail Beyond the Sunset was Robert Heinlein's last book.
Oh,
and
awesome.
That's a tribute to Robert Heinlein.
Awesome. I never realized that.
And then just the fact that the Shinarans, they do so much for Rand, and they go with him, and then Moraine sends them off on a trip to meet a contact, and the contact's dead, and they sort of just end up drifting off into irrelevance until they run into Nynaeve. But that sort of is really important about how Masema becomes the prophet, is basically Moraine sends them to meet an old woman, and the woman is dead. Makes me wonder if somehow that was set up by one of the Forsaken. Because possibly Masema is a tool of Grendel.
Yeah, possibly.
And that maybe she intercepted them and killed their contacts so that they had no one to report to, and then turned him into the prophet. Just a thought. I haven't done the research to back that up, but I always thought that. Unfortunately, I think Masema's devotion and zealotry comes out here, and so I don't think there's necessarily any compulsion or anything involved in that because he's just crazy, a zealot.
Yeah.
Here,
he doesn't really seem to need much of a nudge, like Sir Septon is saying. You battled the Dark One, Masema said. Masema, who hated him. Masema, who looked at him as if seeing a vision of the light. I saw you, Lord Dragon. I saw. I am your man, to the death. His dark eyes shone with fervor. You must choose, Rand, Moraine said. The world will be broken whether you break it or not. Tarmangaidan will come, and that alone will tear the world apart. Will you still try to hide from what you are, and leave the world to face the last battle undefended? Choose. They were all watching him, all waiting. Death is lighter than a feather, duty heavier than a mountain. He made his decision.
And even though I think he decides to be the Dragon Reborn here, even though he still doesn't believe. I think Lanfear was right on, that he still doesn't believe he's the Dragon Reborn. But he feels like he has no choice anymore.
Yeah.
He's forced into declaring himself.
You have to choose.
Yep.
Chapter 50. After. And her symbol's the snake in the wheel.
So let me talk about one or two things, and then I'll let you read it. The first thing is that we hear about these tales, and we're seeing bordermen traveling from the sinking sun across Almoth Plain. And in the next book, we open up in the Mountains of Mist. So that tells us that Rand and these borderlanders march from Falma to the Mountains of Mist across Almoth Plain.
Right. So there's a little bit of a time gap.
They actually spend most of the winter, I think, in the mountains.
I think that's right.
Also, they're riding towards the dawn, which, he who comes with the dawn.
Chapter 50. After. And her symbol is the snake in the wheel. I think that's obvious. By ship and horse the stories spread, by merchant wagon and man on foot, told and retold, changing, yet always alike at the heart, to Aradoman and Tarabon and beyond, of signs and portents in the sky above Falma. The men proclaimed themselves for the dragon, and other men struck them down, and were struck down in turn. Other tales spread, of a column that rode from the sinking sun across Almoth Plain. 100 bordermen, it was said. No, 1,000. No, 1,000 heroes come back from the grave to answer the call of the Horn of Valir. 10,000. They had destroyed a legion of children of the light entire. They had thrown Artur Hawkwing's returned armies back into the sea. They were Artur Hawkwing's armies returned. Toward the mountains they rode, toward the dawn. Yet one thing every tale had the same. At their head rode a man whose face had been seen in the sky above Falma, and they rode under the banner of the Dragon Reborn.
By the way, this prophecy is from the 4th Age.
Wait, is it a prophecy or a history?
That is the question.
Okay.
Or is it both? Because the 4th Age is both the age after the last battle and 7 ages ago. Or 6 ages ago. What Rand is reading. And so I think this is history. But 4th Age, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's written right after the dragon returned. And men cried out to the Creator, saying, O light of the heavens, light of the world, let the promised one be born of the mountain, according to the prophecies, as he was in ages past and will be in ages to come. Let the Prince of the morning sing to the land that green things will grow, and the valleys give forth lambs. Let the arm of the Lord of the dawn shelter us from the dark, and the great sword of justice defend us. Let the dragon ride again on the winds of time.
Thank you for listening to the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Rate us in the Apple Podcast app or support us on Patreon. Is that good enough?